I want to talk to you about your listings and a couple changes that you'll need to make immediately. I've discovered a few ways that Airbnb isn't telling you that they're capable of punishing you or taking your money just because you're not prepared for it. Guests are getting smarter every year. They're finding a way to get refunds, discounts, credits, ways to stay at your place for free. We are going to cover the much rumored Airbnb Shadow Ban, but there's a couple even more sinister things going on in the background. So open your laptop, open your Airbnb account, open up your favorite listing. We're going to make a couple changes right now, and this will change your future as a host. Welcome back, Airbnb family from Philadelphia. Beautiful view. So like I said, we're going to cover three big topics today, and they all affect your listings. Every single one of you as a host is going to be influenced by these things or has currently been influenced by these things. And first, let's address the much rumored shadow ban. So what is the Airbnb shadow ban? Does it exist? Well, many believe that Airbnb can remove you from Instant Book and lower your ranking, and suddenly you are unvisible, unbookable, but still listed, but otherwise untraceably muted. And this is actually half true. So the Airbnb shadow ban does include removing you from Instant Book, but they don't unnaturally or against their algorithm lower your ranking. All right, so they don't stuff your ranking super low as punishment. There's nobody in the back room that can go, let's mute this guy and make his performance terrible. The Airbnb platform, just without care to whose listing is whose, uses the same metrics on every single listing. You'll get your ratings or you won't. You'll get your ranking or you won't. There's nobody in the room clicking you and making you perform bad. If you do not respond to guests, let's say there's 4 inquiries in a row and you don't respond to them, Airbnb will remove you from Instant Book, but they'll also usually give you a notification via email and says, hey, please start responding to your guests. And that's how the shadow ban works. They do things, but they do a couple things that are even more sinister than that, like I said at the beginning of this video. So let's get into these and what you can do to fight them. Now it's cold as dogs out here. Let's go downstairs to the basement. Well, we started from the top, but now we're here, right? I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. So number 2 is going to require you to change your Airbnb listing. So let me allow you to open up your at least one of your Airbnb listings and go to the description section. And in the meantime, for those of you who aren't opening the listing, subscribe to this video. You know you've been waiting for the right moment to subscribe. There's a lot that we're going to teach you in 2020, so I welcome you to the channel. So now once you are in your description area, I want you to scroll down to other things to note. This is one that a lot of people don't really fill out. And Airbnb did do a little segment with a bunch of different hosts, and one couple talks about managing expectations and saying, well, this might be an older home, the floors creak and stuff like that. But it goes a whole lot deeper than that. I actually lost money and I could have avoided it if I was utilizing the other things to note section correctly. So for your listing, what I want you to do is I want you to consider any way that a guest could try to squeeze a refund or partial refund out of you. And my example, I have a garden style property. Well, actually I have tons of them now. But I have a particular garden style property in Houston. And the thing about garden style properties is that the doors open to the outside. They don't open to a closed hallway. So in Texas, in the other things to note section, in order for me not to have lost money in this instance, I would have to have written that this property has a front door that opens to the outside. Texas has bugs year round. And especially when it's cold, bugs try to get inside. So please don't leave the door open for any extended period of time if you don't want bugs flying in. I lost my cleaning fee because a bug flew into an apartment and there was bugs in the apartment, and they took a picture of a fly and I lost $32. Can you believe it? So I argued with Airbnb at great length about this, and I told them I have a YouTube channel of 85,000 subscribers, and I need to let the whole world know that they need to be extremely specific about stuff like this because you guys are willing to give a cleaning fee away over a bug flying in. And he's like, are you threatening Airbnb? I'm like, no, but you guys should be telling your hosts stuff like this because I just lost $32 because I didn't cover my tail the way that you told me I should now. Now, the third one I'm about to tell you is one that I actually wanted to delay telling you why, because as much as you need to know this, if at the beginning of the video I told you that if this information got into the wrong hands, that people could use it against you, you wouldn't want your neighbors watching this video. So the third thing I'm getting into is extremely important, and you don't want your neighbors to know because I have a bad story to tell you about a host I know. So, but I want to expound upon this. So think about other things that people might have an issue with your home that people could require. Like, for example, I have older properties and my tubs are not pearly white. So in other things to note, please know that this property is built in the 1980s or 1990s. And even though the property is clean, the bathtub does not have that new porcelain look. So it might have a beige tone to it because it is an older tub. Please do not expect it to be pearly white. That's another example. And for my imagination does have limits. So I welcome you hosts right now, if any of you can think of anything else that you should put in the other things to note section and other hosts should know, please put it in the comments right now. I would like hosts to scroll through and update their other things to note section. Now, a tip for you though, even though this is kind of like a disclaimer, I want you to make sure that you write it in a way that's not like, oh, you won't be happy. See, managing your guest experience is also managing the sales process. And I train salespeople for a living with my other business. And if you ever give somebody a reason to have an objection, they're going to go, oh, I'm supposed to be upset about this. So as you write in your other things to note section, I want you to make sure that you don't put it as, I don't want you to write it like a real legal disclaimer, because it'll sound like a legal disclaimer and it will sound like you're trying to cover your tail too much. And people go, why is this person writing this way? There's going to be problems during my reservation. So there's going to be a fine line to walk here. And so the art of writing, like copywriting, is going to be a skill that you're really going to want to invoke on this. Okay, and third, the big one, the craziest one, the one that you have no control over, is I have a friend who I manage a couple of his properties for, because, that's what I do for my friends. And he had his listing unlisted. They didn't say why. They just unlisted it. And so I'm going through, managing my prices, because a lot of you guys know that I update my prices once or twice or even 3 times a day, like last minute. So it's like here 8:30 p.m. in Philadelphia, and I go through to the bottom and I notice that this house is listed as unlisted. I'm like, what's up? Did it get paused? Right? And so for those of you who don't know what pausing is, if your reviews go low and you get a bad review, like under 4.5 stars, and then you get a bad review, like a 1 or 2 star, they'll pause your listing for 5 days. So, but I look at his reviews, I'm like, he's 4.9. We don't have any negative reviews. What's going on, right? So I reach out to him, I'm like, hey, Seth, what's up? Did you unlist your property for any reason? Because when I went to go list it again, it just listed. So obviously it wasn't paused, it was just unlisted. He's like, no, man, Airbnb called me because my neighbor made a complaint about my garbage. So he's got this big house, like 5-bedroom house, and trash only comes once a week in Dallas. And so, there's extra trash from 4 reservations of people, and in a 5-bedroom, people are bringing a bunch of stuff in. A lot of times people have cases of Budweiser and pizza boxes. And so the trash can get out of hand. He does his best to manage it, and we've tried to come up with a system for it. And the neighbor complained about the trash and got his listing unlisted for the trash. And it doesn't have to be just the trash part. So this is the danger here, is I want you to constantly watch your properties if you have a ton of them, like myself. And I want you to get to know your neighbors so you don't make any enemies. Because if I wasn't actively managing my prices and going through my calendar 2 times a day, those of you who are using Price Labs or Wheelhouse or Guesty, and you're not logging into Airbnb, you would not have caught this. So you guys need to be checking up on your listings and making sure that your neighbors don't call you in and get you removed. And it could be because of all the new stuff that Brian Chesky has promised because of the people that died in California, or just could be that they've always been this way. But this is the first time I've had a brush with this incident. So if this has ever happened to you guys and you have a story to share, also put that in the comments. Hosts need to know, who would have thought that your listing could get removed because your neighbor calls? So I hope these help you. Stay awesome, keep hosting, make some money, and watch your back. And I'll see you on the other side.